What's good, people in the flesh fields? Today we are talking about Team Fortress 2, and we are also talking about Overwatch. I'm making this video because my last one, about what keeps games fun, actually almost had an additional 15 minutes of talking about differences between TF2 and Overwatch. So yay, they get their own video. So, TF2 and Overwatch, very different, and fascinatingly so, because they're always said to be kind of similar and they're always talked about in the same vein. And I would also be able to say that I can count the amount of actually significant multiplayer games that I dedicated myself to on one or two hands. TF2 and Overwatch, I played a lot, but I have a lot more fond memories of TF2 than Overwatch. So basically what we're going to talk about is why do I like TF2 more than Overwatch. Also, I've said TF2 and Overwatch so much in the past minute, and I guess for the rest of the video I'm just going to keep saying those things anyway, so be prepared for hearing TF2 and Overwatch a lot. I think there are two main components that I'm going to examine, and that's gameplay and characters and lore. TF2 and Overwatch might seem really similar on a cursory examination, but they are fundamentally different games with different goals. TF2 was made as a 9-class/hero casual shooter. It was made as a hop-in and play type of game, and it's balanced as such. There's 12 people on each side on normal servers, the maps are expansive, and each class has special guns and abilities, but they're not timed or sparse. On the flip side, Overwatch was developed with a lot of competitive needs in mind. It's a 6v6 hero shooter, the maps are designed for 12 people, and each hero has abilities like in MOBAs, so you gotta do all that resource management and cooldown management. The major strength of TF2 to me is its ability to be a very chill game. You can play it any way you like, and especially with the mass amount of unlocks, there are many different ways of playing different characters. The game is not necessarily always about winning, and you can definitely see that mindset in a lot of servers. I remember in the old days, there would be 24/7 2-fort servers with 0-0 being the score for hours at a time. If you wanted, you could just be an engineer and set up your farm of machines with your friends. Or you could just try to see how well you can rocket jump. You could be engaged in sniper wars across the battlements, or you could maybe even try to capture the intelligence. That's the beauty of having the game be so large, is that you don't have as much of an impact. And that might sound like a bad thing, but in this case, it's kind of a good thing. The single player is allowed to do what they want to do without necessarily tanking a team and their objectives. You're allowed to just pick the class that you want to play and chill out. And if you're trying to win, if you die, it doesn't mean it's the end of the world. It's not like you had a huge ult that you were building up, unless you're a medic, and it's generally a pretty forgiving game. The game isn't trying to be competitive, really, it's just fun. Even when you're losing, it can be really fun, until people start spawn camping, that is. Overwatch, on the other hand, it's all about competition and winning the game. As 1/6 of the team, you've got to contribute your part. You have to focus and use your abilities to win, and if your ults are wasted all the time, chances are you will have really impacted your team negatively. Also, the way the game is balanced, there seem to be a lot of hard counters. In TF2 there are 9 classes, so their balance is a bit more finely tuned. Even with all the unlocks, I never feel like I can never win an engagement just because of my class or my kit. However, in Overwatch, I feel that way for a lot of things. There are some characters whose kits are just made to counter certain other characters, and it's not super fun. When you're countered, the logical decision, I guess, is to switch to someone else. And you're heavily encouraged to do so, because if you don't, then your team would be closer to losing. I guess that's why in Overwatch, a team with a Hanzo and Widowmaker instead of a healer is more criticized than a TF2 team with no medics and 4 spies. Because at the end of the day, at least to me, TF2 isn't all about winning. And this is the big difference. But I don't think it's necessarily a bad thing. It just seems like Overwatch is this go-to TF2 substitute, but they're actually super different and not really that comparable. And I guess my big point in terms of the gameplay is that if you go into Overwatch with the mindset of it being like TF2, you might not have such a great time. If you want to enjoy Overwatch, I guess you just gotta change your mindset over to what the developers intended, which is competitive hero swapping focused gameplay. I just prefer the more versatile TF2, which can be competitive or chill, depending on what you want. It's just a bummer because I do love the characters in Overwatch. And that's coincidentally my next section. Isn't that such a smooth transition? Overwatch has some great characters. They're memorable, their personalities come through in the game, and they all have great designs. They're distinct characters, and the vast roster of them guarantees that if you play, you'll like at least one of them. Sometimes you want Metal Daddy, other times you want Edgy Daddy, and sometimes you want Gorilla Daddy? Oh god, I hope YouTube doesn't delete my channel because I just said Gorilla Daddy. I think that this is Overwatch's overwhelming strength. You got fan art, you got ships, and you got these people who are super attached to these characters in gameplay and out of it. I think that's why it sucks so much to have to switch heroes sometimes to win. It's like, Man, I just wanted to be Japanese Hawkeye. I don't know why I gotta be a fat pig dude now. There are so many quality heroes. How many people are on Overwatch now? Like 80? It also has a story which seems very intriguing, and it was, especially on launch. It was about the reassembling of a group to battle this mysterious new threat, and it would drop cinematics every so often like TF2. And while these cinematics are very cool, very few of them have actually advanced the story. And that's a problem that TF2 doesn't have, because TF2's base story doesn't really require forward momentum to be fulfilling. After all, Red and Blue are just eternally battling mercenary companies. You could keep that story forever and it makes sense in the game. But later on, they have comics and cinematics, and they elaborate on the world and advance the story a little bit. It's all in good fun and there's nothing super impactful, but here and there you get Easter eggs in the game, like the bread and the doves. On the opposite end of the spectrum, Overwatch's present-day storyline has an air of urgency, but nothing happens. The only cinematics or things that affect the story in the present day advance, but only in slight increments. And Overwatch is like, how many years? It's 3 years old? It's 3 years old. When are they going to advance the story? This isn't TF2. The present day storyline hasn't even caught up to the level of supporting the battles that you fight in the game. And I get it, how would you even do this type of update? But these are the creators of WoW. World of Warcraft has had story and gameplay updates in the form of expansion packs. Things that change the world map, add new elements in gameplay, add new things in the story. And speaking of which, the first WoW expansion did come 3 years after the launch of WoW. And it's almost 3 years from the launch of Overwatch. But maybe that's just a pipe dream. All I'm saying is that the story of Overwatch leaves a lot to be desired, and it doesn't help that the single player missions you get access to are ones in the past. But maybe that's just me? Maybe I'm just part of a minority that doesn't care about elaborating on the past? What do you think? Do you like Overwatch or TF2 better? And if you haven't played either, or both, I'd highly recommend it. They both feel very different, but they both have really good value in terms of gameplay. I think I just prefer TF2. But hey, maybe that's nostalgia. Who knows? Thanks for watching. Stay cool and stay fleshy.